Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to start the video by thanking everyone that attended the live stream the other night there. I really appreciate that. I'm sorry if I didn't get to everyone's questions. I actually made a rookie mistake with it. I didn't read out the questions as they were coming through. And as I watched it back the other night there, I thought, Jesus Christ, this was supposed to be a video where people could come to and obviously get answers to questions, and I thought it might have been okay, but YouTube haven't published the full chat. They've published more than what I thought they had, but it's not been published in full. I mean, not that it would have mattered, like, I've still got to match up the questions, which is a pretty annoying exercise, to be honest. So I will be going live again. I mean, I'll be doing it at least once a month anyways, as we sort of move forward. But I'll get another one probably in next week or something like that. And thank you to everyone who donated on that live stream and who's donated over the course of the last 4 weeks. I mean, I'm really grateful to you. So thank you very much. So this is just a short video. Well, it might be a little bit longer than anticipated, like, but it's about a headline I've seen, and I mentioned it on the live stream the other night there, about the couple that had gotten a letter from the local council, basically saying that any derelict buildings that you own, you really should sell it to make way for asylum seekers. Now, first and foremost, to have a letter for your council stating that your home's derelict, that's one. And never mind that you've actually picked up the letter yourself from within the property. And that would obviously lend credence to the fact that the property's not empty, so why would you sell it? And if they did sell it, where would they go? As we know, there's a housing crisis. And now, with a letter like this, you're starting to see why there's this housing crisis. I mean, we all know why, but it's becoming so blatant, it's so in your face now that it's anyone that's in ignorance to this now, you really need to start growing up. Like, anyone that thinks that inviting untold numbers of people into this country is a good idea because that's what the wokists say, then I'm sorry, but I think you need to get yourself back to the drawing board, because, and I'm going to say it one more time, this is not about racism. It's not about because we don't want people with different coloured skins coming to our country. That's not what this is about, and we need to get streetwise to that, and we need to make it clear, evidently clear, that this is, it's for the best of people of Britain. We want the best for them first, and then perhaps we can maybe look at taking others in. I mean, if you're say you're a Christian family, and you have a couple of families or whatever, or some guests that are fleeing someplace, and they need your help. Let's say you're a church or something like that, and you start taking in people, and you've got enough room and resources for 50 people. Once that number's been hit, and there's no other numbers coming in, that's fine, because you're full. But when more numbers start to come in, what must that church do? Or that safe haven do? If it's only got the resources for 50 people, and there's 50 people already in the church, then how can they take more? They would need to turn them away. Not because they're unchristian, or because they don't like the colour of the jib of the people that's arrived. It's because they've only got the resources for 50 people. Now you can use that analogy for what's going on in Britain. I think we've taken more than our fair share now. And if you ask me, it's been to the detriment of other people in this country, which was always the plan for these people. Because this lady that was on GB News, and she was, and the women had asked her, how did you feel when you got a letter like that? And she said, well, angry. Of course it's angry, because even though you could say, well, maybe it was someone making a mistake, because the lady had actually asked the representative from the council, because apparently they have a team of people that go around and check for derelict buildings that are owned, and then they find out the owners, and then what they do is they prompt or request the owner to sell it to make way for asylum seekers. It's just wokeism. But she had asked the woman, like, she said, where is what department is it that comes around and checks these buildings? And she couldn't give her an answer. Now see, this is the problem we've got with it. I had the same at Universal Credit. It was sent to decision makers, and it was even I spoke to a case manager not that long ago, and even they say they don't know who they are. Like another case manager, and I always did wonder, like, these decision makers. I mean, for all we know, in Universal Credit, they could be AI. For all we know, it could be. I mean, it might not be. I know because of the way these decision makers act, it's hard to tell. But it's the same here at this council. This lady didn't know, this representative didn't know who it is that comes round and check these buildings, and it's obvious that their building wasn't checked. And it was a strongly worded letter, apparently. I would actually like to read it. I really would like to read a letter like that. So if anyone's had one, I'd be most grateful to you if you could provide me with a snippet of it. But yes, this is what's happening. They're prompting people into selling their houses now, and it's all through wokeism as well. It's to make way for asylum seekers. You're being a good person. You don't need that property. It's derelict. It's sitting empty. Why not sell it to us? I'd love to know how much they're offering for them as well, like with regards to in comparison to what its value is, whether they're offering more, the same, or less. I would love to know that as well. I know it's private and confidential information, but it's definitely worth finding out. And I mean, this person owns her property. Her and her husband own it. They bloody own it, and they're getting letters like that. And I know people will say in the comments it's probably just been a mistake because it's not empty. Well, they never obviously checked the house to see if it was empty, or to see if it was derelict. So why would you send a letter if you hadn't checked? They're obviously not checking. I mean, there is a lot of incompetence as well, as I've said many times. So it could be something to do with that. But if I was to guess, I was to place my money, as I often do on a Saturday, a small amount on a football game, then I would say that they don't care. They want people out of their properties, and they want asylum seekers in. And people say to me all the time, well, if that's the case, it kind of goes against your opinion that they don't care about people. But just because they put someone out of property and put someone from another country in it, doesn't mean to say they care any more about the person they've put in as they do the person they've thrown out. What does it do? Makes people angry. And when you're angry, how often do we, I don't know about anybody else, but me, when I used to fly off the handle, how often does your critical thought and your neocortex and that human part of the brain, it is completely irrelevant when you're in a fit of rage, because you're in your R complex. It's anger. That's territoriality, and might is right, and jealousy goes through that part of the brain as well. And this is the part of the brain they need you in. It's why you need to disconnect from it. Disconnect from the dragon in your head, because that's what it is. It's called the R complex, the reptilian brain. Literally, that's what it's called. And it's about silencing the dragon in your head, and that's where that snap. You just snap, and I used to like snap, and I would have a haze of anger, and I wouldn't be able to see. As you can imagine, that had to be dealt with. I manage my triggers much better now, and it's like Jordan Peterson says, a harmless man's not a soft man's not a harmless man. A harmless man's a very, very dangerous man who has it under voluntary control, and I like to think I've got it under voluntary control, because, as I've said before, that way of life is not the way forward at all, because you actually hurt yourself more than you do the person you're doing it to, in many different ways. But anyway, that's where they get you into anger, because anger, I mean, think of the action that has came from anger over the last century. This is what Hitler done in 1920s and 30s Germany. Tugged at the anger strings, and he kept tugging them, and he gave them a little bit of truth to say there was a global network controlling global finances, and they were the reason that you're in this mess. And he mobilised a country with it, because just be giving them a little bit of truth. I'm going to give you all of the truth, or all the truth as I know it, because that's what can really serve you. And they're not even coming, like I say, that's someone who owns their property, And as I mentioned before, we've now got people, weekly homes. I mean, the housing officer that came here is a scumbag, like, and I hope he sees this because he'll know who he is. And if he shows his face in this area again, I'll be going out to give him a piece of my mind, because after checking my mum's statement, he's got that wrong. And what he's going to, right, he's going round and try to manipulate people into a position of fear to get them to pay their rent up front. And if you don't do that, they're saying you're in arrears. You're in arrears because they want you out. See, he'll be under direct orders, whether he knows it or not. He'll be under direct orders to check or chase up rent. He might not be privy to why that's being done. My mum had it last week as well. She'd gotten a phone call from them and saying that she was in £400 arrears. And she's like, I've just paid it today. It hadn't showed up in the system yet. She's like, I've just paid that today. And then when he realised they'd made a mistake, this wasn't the housing officer, this is one of his cronies probably, he basically said that, oh, but you'll be back in arrears next week. But that's true of everyone. Everyone who pays their rent at the end of the month is then back in a week's arrears the week following. So why are you phoning people up and adding extra pressure onto this as well? I mean, you think, right, everything that's going on, cost of living, energy, everything you see on the news with Hamas, all of that stuff, just imagine that, right? You've got all that going on and you're trying your best to get through it, then you get a chap at the door for a scumbag like that, who's going around and whether he knows it or not, is forcing an agenda on people. And I can tell people like that now, that I'm only doing my job, isn't going to work this time. You're not going to get away with that this time. The trials will be very different from Nuremberg this time, and you will be held accountable. And so you should, because you're not just doing your job, are you? I'm just doing my job, but you're not just doing that, because you're causing so much more pain and fear and getting people angry and worried. So you're not just doing your job because you're causing so much more problems. But you go home at night and, I mean, is everything fine? Not everything's never perfect. But I bet you're doing better than the people that you visited on your rounds that day, mate. Since when did a head housing officer go around and chase rent anyway? Like I said, he was like a gangland enforcer, a scumbag. And again, I hope he hears this. So this is what they're doing to people. And again, this brings more light onto why they're sabotaging SMI loans through the DWP. That's to get help with your mortgage interest. Sabotaging that so that the person loses them and then they can be bought and be given to asylum seekers. This is why they're sabotaging people's housing. This is why they're not given any rent for 8 weeks. It's to get people into enough arrears. And then, I mean, yes, it does get all paid, but you think of the mental health that the tenant's gone through, and I've seen it. I've spoke to thousands of them. Well, maybe not thousands, but definitely 100. And the stress they tell me they used to go through, just that the worry of waiting for their housing to get verified. And they're even still in arrears even when that's done. So it's not even like it's all clear, it's just because of the way the system works, it always works behind. So, and as that happened loads of times as well, they would used to say, well, I've not got my full house and I'm still in arrears. Well, that's the way it works. Oh, but I'm getting hounded. I know. But you should really be you need to tell them, it's the government you've got an argument with, not me. They pay it behind, not me. So this is what they're doing to people, and this is what I mean then when I said that you need to become a better person, because a good person wouldn't have done what that guy done before Christmas. He was round loads of different doors. He would be saying, look, I know things are difficult, and is there anything that you can pay? Well, no, it's coming up to... Because he's still getting his wage at the end of the month, unless they offered him a commission to can do it. I don't know, it wouldn't surprise me that either, because I know they do it at job centres. And this is what they're doing, they're being very, very invasive. Now, they're going to press ahead with this anyway, no matter what. So we need to start organising, there's just no doubt about it. And we are organising, I see it in the comments every day. I mean, there's a few people that piss on the parade, sorry for swearing, that say, oh, it'll never happen. Well, they rely on you thinking like that. As long as you're thinking like that, they'll get their way. This will never happen. We'll never come together. Well, if everybody believes that, I'll say it again, they'll get their way. They rely on you to think like that. And we need to stop thinking like that. Or more of these letters are going to be coming through people's doors, whether they're in their houses or not. Even if they're not, why should you be obligated to sell a property that you own to fulfill an agenda? Especially if you don't believe in that agenda. This is what freedom is, but people are pushed into it, they're manipulated into a position of fear. Oh, I might get called, accused of hate crimes. Getting it in the comments from a transgender video and accusing me of hate crime, and they obviously didn't watch the video, because if they did, they wouldn't be able to say that, because I state clearly that I'm for the rights of everyone, including transgender people, and if you feel like you're in the wrong body, then you need support. It's not hatred. That's unconditional love. There's a difference, and we need to make a distinction between those two, because it would appear people are unaware of the differences. Do you know what I mean? We just talk about wokeism a second. I don't think I've mentioned this before. I think I might. I don't know. I can't remember. But when I was at that company, I was doing my training. This is how bad it's getting, right? Now this happened to a friend of mine. The one that I'd mentioned that was doing his training after me. Well, when you're in a new setting and you don't know anyone, you try and get to know people, don't you? And there was obviously people that had just arrived in the country, and there was one lady in particular that if this friend of mine had asked, which country are you from? He lost his job. He lost his job. Because the trainer that was doing the training, in his mind, he was asking a question he shouldn't have been asking. He was asking it in a context where he was basically making it out that, why are you here? But I know this guy, and it's just, his strong Scottish accent, Glaswegian spoken accent, so it might have come across as a wee bit different. But once he said that, no, I didn't mean anything, I'm just trying to get to know her, I'm just asking her how long she's been in the country. It was a common question. I'm not to say his name, but how are you doing? How long have you been in the country? It's a common question, but this wee snivelling scumbag that was sitting at his bloody computer decided that it was wrong for this friend of mine to ask that question, and he lost his bloody job for it. He lost his job for it because he was actually accused of racial hate crimes for asking someone how long they'd been in this country. That's where we're at. And I'll tell you, see, to the guy that was conducting the training that day and that kicked all this off, you should be ashamed of yourself, mate. You're a bloody coward. And you're another one that if you see this video, you'll know who you are. I don't care, mate. I just don't care. It's time people were called out on their bullshit. Like, it really is. It really is time, because this is getting out of hand. When pensioners are getting letters from councils telling them they need to sell their home and they're still bloody in it, and it's strongly worded. It was a strongly worded. It wasn't even like it was politely asking. It was strongly worded. This is what they think of us. This is what they think of us, man. And it's time. It's time we started thinking more of ourselves, because we're better than that. We're much better than that. It's fine. Well, they know this. It's why they have to do these things, as I've already explained. But once we break out and we keep going. I mean, I said to someone the other night there, you need to have been through the fire. And a lot of us have been through the fire now. So that means you're still here. It means you've not been burned, you've not smashed into smithereens, you're still here. And you've built some new parts. So that means you can keep going. And we need to keep pressing ahead with this. Get together, organise, change diets, working out, reading, all that stuff. Everyone needs to do it. You just need to find what subject interests you the most. I mean, there must be something that I've spoken about that you think, well, I'd like to look a little bit further into that. Or there must be something that you want to learn, like a musical instrument or a game you might want to play. Or, I don't know, there's plenty of free courses you can do online. And make it happen, man. It's only you that can. And when you do, you'll change your life, as I've said many, many times. But I just wanted to do a short video because it did annoy me that when I'd seen that, and I thought, no, that's not a mistake. That'll have happened to other people, no doubt, and I'm sure they'll comment in the comments if they do see this, and I hope they do. So the woke agenda is really taking over now. It's really pressing forth with it when they're sending out letters like that. And like I say, I mean, what chance have we got in council houses if that's what they're doing to people that own their properties? And I can't imagine how people must be feeling that are still in mortgages and stuff with the uncertain nature of this world at the moment. Like, I mean, that adds its stress to it as well. And imagine you lose your job because of a health condition, then you need to go and try and get one of these bloody SMI loans. I spoke to a lovely lady one day. She was just absolutely distraught with it. She was distraught with it, and I hope she's doing really well. I hope she got it sorted, but she was. It was, and that's like I say, just about every single bloody person that applied for an SMI loan had that bother with it. And now we know why. Now we know why. That letter from that council proves why they're doing it. And as I've said, I've not got all the answers. I don't know what needs to happen to change the benefit system. But I do know that everyone needs to know exactly what's going on with it before we do make any changes. And I'd like to think I've been the catalyst for that. And hopefully more will come forward. And I got a communication to say that things are changing on the inside anyway. There's a lot of people leaving. I mean, I seen the writings on the wall anyway. Like, if I wasn't going to do these videos, I'd have left anyway because I'd seen the way it was going. And there was ever more sabotage. And this person confirmed that and certain individuals are leaving. I must admit, I was surprised to hear that. Like, but that's the nature of the beast. That's where we're at with it. So maybe some of them have got hearts because they can't take it anymore. And hope maybe some of them will come forward, and I encourage them to do so. Because the more people that do, then the better chance we have of changing it. I would just like to thank you once again for tuning into my video. Honestly, you are absolutely amazing, and you've helped me grow this channel very quickly, and for that you have my eternal gratitude. I'm going to be posting up another couple of videos coming this week. The next one, apparent cure, lockdowns, lies and apparent cures. I'm going to start writing that one up just shortly. I think I've got the content to fill that, so that'll probably be due next. I know I keep saying about this one, it's just a small segment, that's why I've not done it from the food is medicine. I'm trying to kind of leave it a little bit, just to see if I've got something else I can add to it to make it a little bit longer a video. That's why I've not recorded it yet, but I'll have a look tonight to see if I can get some content just to make it at least maybe a 10 or a 15 minute video. And then that way I'll get that posted, and then I'll let you know obviously when the next live's coming also. I would like to thank you once again for your continued support. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll see you on the next one, okay? Alright, man.